Babcock Preserve site, and usually I'm the one that likes to talk all the time, but I was informed by Anastasia and everybody to slow my roll just a little bit, let the superintendents do their thing, but they asked me to do a short little presentation on injuries that are sustained by banding, metal banding, and what our different PPE is out on site that can protect us. So, me, I like to be a visual learner. Let me get these over here. So I went out and I got a few things, and my background is as a military medic, and we used to practice suture techniques on pig's feet. And that being said, it's very similar skin to what human skin is, and can show you just what cutting can do to the human body. So a few little statistics real quick. Hands are the second most injured body part on any construction work site, right behind back strains and lower back strains. Every year, 30% of injuries across the board are injuries from cuts and lacerations, 12% of which are to your hands. The National Safety Council did a safety and has determined that one disabling hand or finger injury can be between $540 to $26,000 as far as the amount of care is concerned, with really devastating trauma being anywhere from $70,000 to $730,000. So as you can see, the money just adds up and adds up and adds up when it comes to these potential injuries, which we can easily prevent by wearing the right PPE and following the right safety practices. There's more than 1 million hand injuries reported in the workforce, in the construction workforce in America, reported annually, according to the CDC. That is an amazing amount. Think about it. Our hands are the way that we explore the world around us, right? What would you do if you didn't have your hands? You couldn't shake somebody's hand, you couldn't hold your hand of your significant other, you can't pick your kids up, play your PlayStation, whatever it is. So protecting them should be a #1 concern with anything that we do on our site. So FBL had a project a couple of years ago where an employee was opening up a crate and clipped some banding with their snips. Pablo, I don't know if you remember this. I think this was on the Port Everglades, right? Man, I've known you that long?
Yeah.
And when they went to pull the banding out from underneath the crate, they held onto it with their leather gloves and just yanked up. But when they yanked up, it stayed in place, and they just ran their hand right along that banding. Cut right through the leather glove. And if you see this picture right here in front, that's the laceration that happened, an easily preventable injury. It was our first reportable for that project. It sliced through those leather gloves. Cutting deep into the thumb required several stitches. And as you can see, this person was not in a happy place. It was pretty painful. We've recently made changes to our cutting policy on board OCI projects. I have here, if you haven't looked at it yet, the safety alert that went out from Anastasia and the corporate office about all of our cutting tools that we are no longer allowed to use, and then what we are allowed to use on the sites. This being said, banding, metal banding specifically, can easily cut you if you are not cautious. You can see all the different ways that we use cutting banding, holding and bundling packages together and materials, purlins, posts, and all that. The different types of banding that we've seen out there are the polyester strapping, like 3/4 inch polyester. At 0.04 inch thickness, it's not exactly always going to cut somebody. It's more of kind of like a blunt piece of plastic. But when it's stretched out and it's taut, then there is a potential there, a risk there. You're not going to always have it cutting through skin. It's just not going to happen with this stuff too much, but the potential does exist. It has a break strength of 1,900 pounds, and we'll talk about flailing banding here in just a moment. Now, stock steel strapping, on the other hand, usually has a thickness of 0.02 inches, average break strength of about 2,025 pounds. Strong cut potential does exist. With banding, either from running your hand along it, or it's snapping up, or if it's cut, the sharp ends. So I've taken a piece of that banding and I put it on a hacksaw and stretched it out to make it taut, to simulate how it would be if it's crumbed up. If you guys want to come closer. So on my pig's feet here, I haven't done anything to this other than make it into the shape of a saw. It doesn't have a saw ridge or anything like that. When it's run along the skin, it can very easily cut through and leave a wound. It can easily go through deep down, even into the bone, when you're cutting. The potential greatly exists that you can injure yourself in all different manners of ways. See how easily you can cut through the skin, and that's just a plain blade on a hacksaw pulled taut. All right. So how are we going to protect ourselves? What do? We have several different types of ways to protect ourselves. Number one is the process that we use. We need to make sure that we are never in the line of fire when we are cutting the banding. You can see on one of my pictures down there, I have a picture of the aviation snips, tin snips that we use from the side, not standing in the line of fire so that it comes out from underneath us. If the banding is stuck underneath the crate or underneath the materials, we should never jerk on it or yank on it to pull it out. We can use tools, or we can wait until we've moved everything out of the way and then pick it up afterwards. All right, that's an easy enough fix. The PPE that we wear is also paramount. As you can see, I have here a standard pair of leather gloves, like we use on any side. The leather gloves, we've used on some of my past sites as protection, and they just, for some reason, just don't give enough cut protection level when you're using this. You can see easily that it could cut and slice open right through when we're dealing with the banding on the leather. But now we've done away with the leather gloves, or we only use them for like greasing up engine parts or something like that over our cut level gloves. The current OCI requirement is cut level 2. This is the standard cut level glove. The OR polyurethane coated cut level 2 gloves. They're ANSI cut A2, lined with polyethylene and coated with polyurethane. They provide excellent flexibility, dexterity, without compromising cut resistance. Anybody see a cut? Works pretty good, right? So that's good. That's to know that the PPE that we have in place is doing something. We also have the.
Jason, let me add one thing. PPE only works if you using them for the life cycle.
Right.
What a lot of people do, what we've seen in injuries that we've had, is those gloves are worn out and they're not getting them switched out. It's easy to go to the tool room, bring a pair. I'm assuming you guys have that process. You bring a pair, you get a pair, you turn the old pair in. But very important that they still inspect their PPE